Now he decided to flat out release the scene in question, basically the climax of Blake Lively's abuse lawsuit.
They say every fairy tale has a secret chapter, a place where glossy photos fade and candid truths begin to show. For years, fans have adored Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, admiring their playful banter, adorable red carpet moments, and charming social media jabs. Yet beneath those glowing headlines, a series of startling developments has hinted at trouble in paradise. And when Justin Baldoni, celebrated by many for his uplifting approach to filmmaking, entered the picture,
she wasn't doing well on the promo tour for the movie. It was very tone deaf. Her hair care line wasn't doing well. She was trying to sell booze while talking about domestic violence.
Everything changed. Suddenly, the internet was buzzing with talk of behind-the-scenes drama, alleged hidden motivations, and cryptic evidence that threatened to tarnish the once untouchable love story of Hollywood's wittiest power couple. On the surface, it all seemed unreal. How could the pair, known for their social media roasts and lovable interviews, be caught in a swirl of accusations and legal showdowns? More importantly, why was Justin Baldoni, someone typically seen as affable and open-hearted, suddenly labeled the central figure in an ever-evolving saga?
You can understand it. They're sort of radioactive. In one breath, Blake Lively is saying she was the subject of serious sexual harassment during the filming of It Ends With Us.
If you've seen the memes and read the headlines, you already know that something big is brewing. But what you don't know is just how deep these revelations might run. Yet this is just the beginning. Prepare to question everything you thought you knew about Hollywood's golden pair. For a long time, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds were the poster children for modern celebrity romance. They walked red carpets with breezy confidence, posted playful birthday insults, and seemed to embody the perfect blend of glamour and down-to-earth charm.
I defend Justin Baldoni in this lawsuit with Blake Lively because I think she's horrible and she's made up this whole thing because she tried to steal his movie.
Paparazzi photos showed them casually strolling with their kids, giving the impression of a balanced, wholesome marriage untouched by the usual pitfalls of fame. However, new chatter suggests that off-camera, Blake felt overshadowed by Ryan's never-ending comedic persona. Insiders claim she got tired of every conversation turning into a one-liner or viral tweet. Tiring, especially for someone determined to be taken seriously in her own right. As the story goes, it was only a matter of time before she began looking for ways to reassert herself.
So they filmed May to June, then shut down for the strike, and then they were down until January. But I think that the strike lifted in November, but then she had all these return to work.
Both personally and professionally. That's where the rumored power struggles began, culminating in subtle and not so subtle efforts to shape how certain films were made and promoted. It's possible that tension was building even before Justin Baldoni stepped in, but if rumors are to be believed, his involvement accelerated the cracks in that perfect facade. After all, when an outsider begins exposing contradictory details, fans start wondering, how genuine is that picture-perfect image if it crumbles so fast at the first sign of discord? And just when you think it's all smoke and no fire, fresh stories emerge. Stay tuned to discover how these tensions escalated into a full-blown legal entanglement.
And now they're making light of it on SNL's 50th reunion show. So tonally, it does seem off, and I can imagine people just wanting to stay away from it. You're going to catch shrapnel if you get involved in this drama at this point.
Before the controversy, Justin Baldoni was widely admired for championing kindness and inclusivity. Known for heartfelt projects and his openness about personal struggles, he never seemed like the type to tangle with a Hollywood power couple. But the whispers began during the filming of It Ends With Us, where Justin took on a directorial role. Allegedly, there were on-set disagreements that blurred professional boundaries, leaving many to question whether the friction was purely creative or something more personal. At first, the gossip revolved around rumored text messages and steamy behind-the-scenes footage, fueling theories that certain lines had been crossed.
I said that having read through Blake Lively's complaints, that it was evident to me that she was likely under the influence.
Some claimed that Blake was being flirtatious just to provoke tension, while others argued that Justin might have been the one stepping into uncomfortable territory. This swirl of rumors turned into a whirlwind once fans started analyzing social media posts. Cryptic replies, suspiciously deleted photos, and accusations surfaced about behavior that no one had anticipated. What made the situation more combustible was the suggestion that Ryan Reynolds caught wind of these questionable exchanges and wasn't thrilled. instead of letting suspicion fester behind closed doors.
First about Justin to TMZ, saying that he had inappropriately asked her trainer about her weight because he had a bad back and there was a scene where he had to lift her up.
They say Ryan took subtle jabs in public, turning it into a bizarre game of internet detective work as fans tried to piece together who was truly at fault. But the real tipping point was yet to come, because what started as rumors swiftly escalated once attorneys got involved. When lawyers enter a Hollywood feud, everything changes. Early on, the internet caught wind of a gag order sought by Blake and Ryan's legal team, allegedly an attempt to stop Justin from unveiling more behind-the-scenes details.
And then she continued. You know, she took that stiletto and stuck it in his heart when he was down there self-flagellating, being so sorry for anything having to do with his testosterone.
Critics were quick to label it a power play. If the ultimate golden couple wants to silence you, how can you fight back? Meanwhile, Justin's side maintained they had done nothing more than defend against what they called fabricated allegations. Things reached a boiling point with a high-profile article in the New York Times. It painted Justin as the villain, while portraying Blake Lively as a courageous figure stepping forward to denounce wrongdoing. Then came Justin's lawsuit. He claimed the Times piece was a paid arrangement, orchestrated by Blake and Ryan to maintain their squeaky clean brand and derail his credibility.
And that's part of the point that Justin's team is making in kind of complying with what they're viewing as threats made on her behalf.
To some, this sounded like a desperate conspiracy theory, but to others, it seemed entirely plausible, especially in a town where money and influence can shape any narrative. Legal experts pointed out the complexities. Are Blake and Ryan legitimate whistleblowers exposing unseemly conduct, or is Justin right about them manipulating the system to shield their reputations? Observers found themselves in a bind, uncertain whether to back the beloved Hollywood couple or consider that perhaps a less powerful figure was being railroaded for daring to speak up, and the deeper you dig, the more unthinkable possibilities emerge.
That Justin Baldoni, ultimately, by the time they got to the premiere, was mandated by Blake Lively to spend the night in the basement.
Just wait until you hear how financial and creative decisions might have fueled this uproar. It's never easy juggling multiple egos on a film set, but in the case of It Ends With Us, sources claim it was less a balancing act and more a battleground. Blake Lively had a prominent role both on screen and behind the camera as a producer, while Justin Baldoni was poised to direct a story he deeply cared about. According to certain insiders, disagreements flared when Blake allegedly brought in her own film editor and even enlisted Ryan for last-minute script rewrites, moves that, from Justin's perspective, undermined his authority as director. Those sympathetic to Justin argue that he'd nurtured the project from the ground up, only to have his vision sidelined by a star couple's clout. Meanwhile, rumors suggest Blake aimed to refine the film's tone, possibly seeking to emphasize certain dramatic angles, or achieve a style that reflected her own brand. Caught between them were the cast and crew, some praising Justin's collaborative spirit, others admiring Blake's keen eye for detail. Either way, tension brewed, and onlookers described the environment as a civil war, with loyalty divided at every level. If you're wondering where Ryan fits into all of this, well, his presence loomed in the background. Witnesses say Ryan made unannounced visits to the set, offering friendly feedback that some perceived as meddling.
And I think that we're all the pawns of it. And also that story I gave you, that's one where I've talked to them. I feel comfortable sharing that much.
It didn't help that the tabloids started running stories about the friction. Whether or not the tabloids had credible sources, the end result was undeniable. Fans started asking whether the conflict was personal, professional, or both. But the real question is, how did these disagreements spill into ongoing lawsuits and allegations of shady agendas? The next revelations might change your perspective on who's really in the right. Reputation can be everything in Hollywood. It dictates which projects get greenlit, who lands brand deals, and how the public receives your every move. If there's one thing Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have mastered, it's maintaining a polished, relatable, and marketable image. From heartwarming social media posts about family to comedic stunts that go viral, they seem to have perfected the art of likable celebrity. But what happens when controlling that narrative becomes more important than addressing actual problems? Various anonymous sources point to a behind-the-scenes behind-the-scenes scramble, a feverish attempt to prevent bad press, even if it means rewriting the storyline of entire events. These whispers suggest that when Justin Baldoni refused to back down or remain quiet about issues he believed had been misrepresented, he inadvertently jeopardized the couple's brand, and that's supposedly where the real fight began. Industry insiders say the fear of losing endorsements and damaging a family-friendly appeal can push high-profile stars to take drastic measures.
Had there been these horrible things, and had there been these horrible text messages, had there been this horrible information, that stuff would have been put out there too.
Allegedly, these measures included legal maneuvers, strategic leaks to media outlets, and public statements carefully worded to incite maximum sympathy. Meanwhile, Justin's supporters argue that he simply wanted the truth out there, free from spin or corporate involvement. After all, if your livelihood hinges on your moral stance, like Justin's frequently does, couldn't you see why he'd fight tooth and nail? But if you think this is just your typical showbiz squabble, buckle up. The stakes grow even higher when we peek into the interplay of financial gain, brand power, and the willingness to risk it all for control. Money isn't everything until it is. Ryan Reynolds has proven himself to be a canny businessman. Think Mint Mobile, Aviation Gin, and a soccer club that went from underdog to global phenomenon. While he raked in profits and expanded his empire, many observers noted how Blake was intermittently taking a back seat to focus on family life or to pursue quieter, passion-driven projects. Over time, that dynamic can breed resentment, especially if one partner feels overshadowed not only in the public eye, but also in practical financial terms. Recent legal filings have hinted at deeper resentments about who invests in what.
And she was postpartum, so she was very offended by this. Now, Baldoni was a director of the movie, one of the directors on the movie, and he obviously therefore wanted the movie to be a success.
Whether certain business ventures were overshadowed by personal drama, and whether creative sacrifices were made to keep Ryan's upward momentum strong, insiders speculate that in private, Blake wrestled with how to showcase her own creative vision without appearing to compete with her husband. Meanwhile, Ryan's comedic brand soared, which might have exacerbated any existing tension. Once the Justin Baldoni situation exploded, it forced each party to reveal more than they intended, spilling secrets about grudges, broken trust, and even possible manipulations behind closed doors. Some argue that if the couple's finances are so robust, then a few controversies shouldn't shake them, but reputational damage can be costlier than any single project gone wrong. Sponsors get nervous, fans lose faith, and future opportunities may vanish. In that sense, the stakes here are sky high, making it unsurprising that the conflict turned into a legal battlefield where neither side is willing to concede.
He told us that Justin Baldoni claims she tried to take over his movie because she has a history of saying, okay, I'll be the star, but what I secretly want to do.
And the revelations don't stop at money and pride. Up next, we'll dig into how all of these tensions might be shaping the future of Blake, Ryan, and Justin, both in Hollywood and beyond. Whenever a Hollywood scandal grows to this scale, people in the industry start choosing sides. Cast members, collaborators, and even close friends find themselves navigating treacherous waters. Some identify with Justin, praising his sincerity and expressing outrage at what they see as orchestrated attacks. Others stand firmly with Blake, pointing out that allegations of wrongdoing should always be taken seriously and that she has every right to defend her reputation. And then there are those who remain loyal to Ryan, championing his comedic genius and shrugging off the rumors as mere clickbait. Those who've closely followed the fiasco say the environment feels like a boiling pot. Everyone's hush-hush in public, yet gossips vigorously in private. Leaked DMs, rumored phone calls, and ephemeral social media posts only intensify the sense of chaos.
Lively's legal team saying the experiences of Ms. Lively and others were documented at the time they occurred, starting in May of 2023.
The question on everyone's mind is, how many of these alliances are born from genuine belief in one side's innocence, and how many are simply strategic moves to preserve future opportunities? Through it all, you can sense the tension. If Justin is exonerated, it could drastically shift public opinion about Blake and Ryan. Conversely, if more evidence emerges validating Blake's and Ryan's claims, it could tarnish Justin's carefully curated reputation. No matter which way the wind blows, somebody's image will likely suffer permanent damage, a reality that fuels even more suspicion and anxiety among those who might be next in line for scrutiny. But are we seeing the end of an era for Blake and Ryan, or just the beginning of a new phase, one that isn't so easy to gloss over with a witty tweet? The final section might leave you questioning everything. When fans first fell in love with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, they saw a couple who made marriage look fun, easy, and unshakably strong. Now as court documents pile up and accusations of misconduct and manipulation circulate.
But he is the most overly feminized man I've had to endure in recent history.
That shining image has been overshadowed by an unsettling new narrative. The once effortless romance, staged in comedic Instagram posts and red carpet smiles, suddenly appears riddled with cracks. Perhaps the biggest revelation is that being Hollywood royalty doesn't exempt you from relationship challenges, personal ambition, or the consequences of playing power games. Even with comedic wit, financial security, and adoring fans, real life can still creep in when cameras stop rolling. That's the stark truth that has come barreling into public view, forcing everyone to reevaluate how we perceive celebrity marriages. The battles unfolding here, creative control, personal dignity, public image, are universal struggles, magnified 1,000 times by spotlights and tabloids. So where does it end? Will the courts bring clarity? Will one side present undisputable evidence that shifts the blame entirely? Or will both parties retreat from the chaos, settling behind closed doors to salvage what remains of their reputations?
Justin says that Blake was determined to make him the real-life villain in her story.
For now, we can only watch the headlines and wonder which bombshell might drop next. Because if Hollywood's taught us anything, it's that the show isn't over until every secret is laid bare, or carefully buried again. And with so many rumors still swirling, one thing is certain, this saga isn't finished. Stay alert because the next shocking twist could be just around the corner.